Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, we have another Q&A for you. We've got some great questions to answer this time, so I'm really looking forward to answering them. Obviously, if you want to see another episode of this in the future, I am going to need some more questions, so don't forget to put some more questions in the comments below. And everyone that I mention in the video, I'm going to put a link to their channel in the description below, so go and check them out, give them a sub, etc. as always. Okay, so let's get cracking, shall we? So the first question this week is from Graeme Collin, and he says, out of the armies you've never fought against, which would you most like to take on? So that's a very good question. I think obviously there's lots of like sub-armies around, you know, like supplemented armies and stuff. But I think out of the main armies, the army I'd probably like to play is Dark Eldar, because I've just never seen them in action. And all those raiders and all the vehicles and stuff just look really cool. And I reckon it'd be a good sight to see a Dark Eldar army on the table in action. So I'm going to say Dark Eldar for that one. I could have tried to drink this, I've only just made it, might be hot. Yeah, not too bad. Okay, next question is from E-TRON, aka NORT-E. He says, what paint ranges do you use, and what do you use mostly, and what brush ranges? Paint ranges, I basically just use Citadel GW paints. The main reason, when I started, I just had to have Games Workshop stuff on everything, all of my models. But the main reason for that really now is that locally, it's the only paint that I can get. So, you know I could buy the other stuff online and things, and I know that GW paints are a little bit overpriced, but I do like their paints. But it's just really easy for me just to nip into a shop, you know, locally and pick up a pot of paint. So I just stick with Citadel. What brush ranges do I use? I use Series 7 Winsor & Newton with the occasional GW brush. Mainly the dry brushes, because you can't really go wrong with the dry brush. And the GW tank brush seems pretty good, and the stipple brush, although I don't think they make a stipple brush anymore. Actually, the new dry brush as well is massive. I don't know why it's so big, or at least a small and a big option. But anyway, yeah, I basically use Winsor & Newton Series 7 unless I get an emergency where I need to pick up a brush quickly, because I have to order my brushes online. Okay, next is from my good buddy 33 Claydog. What will be the first tanks or vehicles you get for your Space Wolves army? Thank you, Clayton, for your question. Well, I already have some tanks to paint for my army. I have 3 rhinos. I have a 4th rhino, which is a Chaos Rhino. I'm not sure about that one though. I got that second hand from a buddy of mine who at the time was doing Thousand Suns army, and he had like a special rule where if you assaulted the tank, you basically got hit by the tank somehow, like it was on fire or something, and he green stuffed a load of flames around the tank. I'm half thinking I might turn that into like flames, as if like the tank looted the tank and it's still on fire, my army, because obviously I'm going to have a mixture of Chaos tanks and normal tanks because it's the 13th Company Space Wolves. I'd also have a Chaos Predator in my army as well. So I've already got my tanks. Of course, I do want to get a Land Raider. Never had a Land Raider, never played with the Land Raider. I really want one. So that will probably be one of my next purchases in terms of tanks for the army. And probably a flyer, of course, as well. The Stormfang, or whatever it's called. Okay, next a question is from Courage and Honour. If you had the opportunity to become any non-human character across the Star Trek universe, who would you choose to be and why? Thank you, Courage and Honour, for my obligatory Star Trek question. Got to have a Star Trek question. So, who would I be, non-human? I would probably be data. Mainly because just that wealth of knowledge that he has. I mean, he knows everything about everything. It would mean that I could actually know about fluff, because that's my weakness in 40k. I'm just not a fluff bunny. So if I was data, I just like read everything and I just know everything about the fluff, know the ins and outs of it. That'd be really cool. So I think data. Tabletop banter. For each of the armies you collect, which is your iconic HQ choice for each, both for competitive gaming and what you find cool? I really like that question. That is a very good question. So, I'm going to have a sip of coffee before I start answering. So let's start with Necron, shall we? Okay, so iconic choice for both competitive gaming and what you find cool. Okay, well, I'm very much old school, as you know, so I suppose really it's the Necron Overlord, although I always see him as just the Necron Lord. Obviously, basically in the old Codex, not the previous one, but the previous one before that, what we had for 10 years, we had one HQ choice. It was the Necron Lord, and that was it. So I think that's very iconic HQ. But I like playing the Overlord because he's obviously part of the Decorium, and I think he's basically replaced the Lord, really. He is the Necron Lord. I think he's iconic. So I'm going to say the Necron Lord, and actually I'm going to say the Necron Lord from a competitive point of view. Nemesis, he's awesome. Illuminor actually is pretty good for small point games. But you can't really go wrong with an Overlord. And the great thing about an Overlord is you can take him really cheap if you want to, and you can kit him out to do other things if you want to. So it's a great HQ. What do I find cool? I like Imhotep the Stormlord. Specifically, obviously, in the last Codex. I mean, this Codex, I haven't even used him. You know, sadly he's lost what he had, but he used to be really cool. You know, I love those lightning strikes. Really fun character to play. He looks really awesome, except minus fine cast. And he's got a bendy thing, and doesn't matter how many times I hairdryer it and straighten it up, it always bends back in the case. But that aside, Nemesis. No. That aside. Imhotep. Okay, on to Tyranids. Tyranids, my iconic HQ choice, both competitive gaming. What I find cool. So competitive gaming just has to be the Flyrant. Twin Link Devourer Flyrant. You just cannot go wrong with it. So much so that I generally have two in my lists. So it's got to be the Flyrant, really. What I find cool, I find the Flyrant cool as well, really. A flying monstrous creature, how cool can you get? So I'm going to actually say the Flyrant for both spots. Next army will be... what else have I got? Eldar. How can you forget your own armies? Too many. Eldar. Well, competitive gaming, I'm tending to use either Farseers or the Spirit Seer. But I think the Farseer has definitely got to be the most iconic HQ and probably the most competitive. What I find cool is 100% the Mantark, although you can't have Mantark now, the Autark on a bike that Clayton, who I previously mentioned, painted for me because it's such an awesome model that it just looks so cool on the table. So that's my most coolest model. Avatar though, he's not. Is he Lord of War now or is he HQ? Can't remember. I know he's Lord of War, isn't he? Forget the Avatar then. Next army will be Space Wolves, and It's going to be a hard one to choose because I've not really been playing much Space Wolves for a long time. So I mean, iconic HQ, I suppose, is going to be Ragnar Blackmane or Logan Grimner, one of those two. Competitive gaming, I don't actually know. I can't actually answer that because I haven't really played them enough. So I'm going to skip that one, I think. And the other army, of course, is Chaos, but I haven't even started that, so I can't answer that at all. And the only HQ I know in Chaos is Abaddon, so can I just say Abaddon for both? Maybe. Anyway, that's a great question, thank you for that. Right, next question is from Dr. Nick 247247. Hope that's not your phone number. With the rumours of a new Tyranid Codex in the new year, how could the Synapse instinctive behaviour rules be improved? Great question. Actually, Aceface did a video about this not so long ago. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I'd like to see the Synapse back to how it was a bit more with Eternal Warrior for anyone in Synapse, because that would solve a lot of problems for a lot of Tyranid creatures. Warriors, Ravener, Shrike, not being able to be instant deathed. Okay, yeah, they've got 3 wounds now, it used to be 2 wounds, but strength 8 will instant death you, and you've got a rubbish save. So I think Eternal Warrior for anything within Synapse range would be awesome again. Ace mentioned about the instinctive behaviour chart, maybe like reducing how the effects of that maybe. I don't know, I think I've only ever rolled on the instinctive behaviour chart twice since I've been playing them with the new Codex. Oops. And, well, nothing really happened to me. I know there's some bad stuff on there, but I'm hardly ever out of Synapse range. And if you are, well, I don't mind the Synapse table being there and random and being bad because it's all part of the fun. But, yeah, Shadow of the Warp, that's sort of path of Synapse, isn't it? Sort of. That needs sorting out because that's rubbish at the moment. So, better Shadow of the Warp and Eternal Warrior for anyone in Synapse range. That would be really cool. And how about this? Can I throw this in there? Anyone in Synapse range can auto regroup, move, shoot and charge after they've auto regrouped. Come on, you can't give it to Space Marines all the time. Give it to Nids. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. Right, next question is from Grawlys Lair, and he says, where is your favourite getaway location? Do you prefer city breaks, beach holidays or away in the countryside? Okay, well, I'm not actually a holiday person. If I have a holiday, I'm quite happy to have a holiday and just have like a week off and just sit down and paint models all week. I'm not a beach person. I get bored on the beach. I'll sit there for 10 minutes, go and get an ice cream, eat the ice cream, sit there another 10 minutes, and it's like I'm bored to death at the beach. I just don't get the beach. City breaks, the hustle and bustle of cities, no thank you. And the countryside, again, unless I've got my models with me, it's boring. So I'm not really a holiday person. Now, having said that, it is slightly different if you're with someone who is a holiday person, because my wife is very, very adventurous. So going on holiday with her is really good because she just organises everything and she tells me where I've got to be, where I'm going, what I'm doing, and that's actually quite good. Obviously spending time with my wife, especially like when we went to Venice, for example, that was awesome. I do enjoy the different cultures. It's very interesting finding out about different cultures and doing a bit of sightseeing, I suppose. But I'm just really not a holiday person, you know. I think I went, I'm just trying to think now. So I went about 10 years without a holiday. at one point in my life. You know, like a going away holiday. There you go. So that is that question. Thank you for that. So next page. Only 2 pages, but some good questions to come. So the next one is from Kiblams. So yeah, thank you everyone for going over and giving Kiblams a sub from my shout out vid. Really appreciate that. His question is, which is your favourite Doctor from any of the Star Trek series? Thank you, Kiblams. I think I've had that question before. The answer is going to be the Doctor from Voyager, because, you know, with his hollow emitter and stuff, he's just so dynamic. The storylines are just so dynamic. So it's him. Next question is from Peter Holman. Favourite Space Marine chapter? Well, I don't really like Space Marines. Obviously I have my Space Wolves. I have Space Wolves because I liked the fact that they had Space Marines with wolves. It was actually the wolves that attracted me to the Space Wolves. Plus, at the time when I was looking for my second army, because believe it or not, my Space Marines are my second army, I was playing Necrons. So I went for the Space Wolves, particularly the 13th Company, because they were an assault army and my Necrons were a shooty army. So that's why I solely went for them. So I'm going to have to say the Space Wolves, because obviously I have Space Wolves. I did really enjoy painting and modelling up the Salamanders units. You know, you've got the flames on there and like the scowls and stuff. Great modelling opportunities, the Salamanders. But Space Wolves, I like them. And there's a lot of detail on Space Wolves. Probably, maybe one of the most detailed Space Marine chapters there are in terms of painting. You know, loads of different bits and pieces on there. Okay, next question is from Mini Warzone, from Pete. He says, okay, so my question for this time is, when you are not playing, where and how do you store your armies? Actually, I have another question. Okay, let's do the first question. So how do I store my armies? Well, I have various cases, ranging from a cardboard box with a bit of foam in there to like proper cases. I have my Necrons in a massive battle something case. It's from a company that's not in production anymore, but I have one of those. I have a small skirmish type case which I have my NIDs in, along with an aluminium case. I have some GW cases, my Eldar in a GW case, my Space Wolves in a GW case, and I just have boxes and stuff everywhere. I'd love to have like dedicated cases and that, but you know, it's basically whatever I can get whatever I can get my hands on that holds the models well enough, really. I've just got them stacked up in all different places around the house. Yeah. The second question is, do you have a main Nemesis army you enjoy battling against? I have a main Nemesis. Well, my main Nemesis army is Grey Knights. I don't necessarily enjoy battling out with them. I find them highly annoying. No, you thought I was going to say Blood Angels, didn't you? Nah, see? No, Grey Knights, I hate them. Those Terminators, deep striking in, turn 1, 10 turn... See, my buddy, when he plays, he doesn't play very often, but when he does play, he's got 2 groups of 10 Terminators with Drago and God knows what else, and they come in turn 1, they're right in your face, they're so annoying, their guns are so good. You can't assault them because they're high initiative, force weapons and power weapons and God knows what else. Yes, they lack manoeuvrability, but when you're in your face, you know, if you're playing Necrons or Tyranids or whatever, if they're in your face, you've got big trouble. And that's my Nemesis. Grey Knights. Joel Driver. Would you consider coming up with some sagas for your 13th Company to run with the individual packs and heroes to make your amazing minis even better? Well, thank you for that. I'm glad you like my minis. I don't think I would. A, I'm not really in the fluff side of things. B, they had all those sagas and stuff, didn't they, in the last Codex? That was just annoying. You know, all those little special rules, you can only take one of each and stuff. I don't know, I'm just not into the sagas and stuff that much. So I don't think I would, to be fair. Okay, how are we doing for time? Not too bad. Right, so Athilith, who has a question for me. If you would be looking for a new home, let's say a house, how big of a factor would a hobby gaming room space be? Wow, it would be a massive factor. Pretty much the first thing that I would look at. It would have to have a room suitable for a gaming table and enough storage space for all of my bits and pieces and stuff. So it's a massive factor, really, to be fair. And the wife knows that as well. She knows the first thing I look for is like, oh yeah, you know, that'd be great for the gaming board. It's got a light right above the table, you know, that sort of stuff. So annoyingly for her, of course. Next question is from Hooves of Doom. His question, and this is actually the last question, is: do you want to collect any other armies? If so, which ones? I have answered this question before. I wouldn't want to collect any other armies because I have 5. It's more than enough. I can't afford all the codexes. If I were to do another army, it would be Dark Eldar, purely on the fact that I've never seen it before in action, never had it, never played it, and it's pretty cool. It would be an opportunity to ally with my Eldar, which is one thing I really struggle with my armies. They're difficult to ally with each other. Do you know what I mean? I've got Necrons and Tyranids, and I don't know, they just don't seem to ally very well. But no, I'm not into allies anyway. I'm quite happy to play on my Codex and that's it. I'm not really into the supplements and stuff either. No, I'm quite happy just to play my army from the given Codex. Okay, so that is all the questions. I really hope you enjoyed the answers. I enjoyed making the video as always. But like I said, if you want to see another video, another Q&A, then please put some questions down below for me. I know some people do their Q&As like every week. I tend to do mine roughly every month. I have no set time. Whenever I get time to do it, I'll make one, but it's on average about once a month. So yeah, that's it for this video. Really hope you enjoyed it, like I said, and as always, thanks for watching.